Awesome. Well, I'm going to move my phone off the table. Ooh, phone's on silent.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Mine is not.
Not that we're that serious of a podcast where we like need everything silent, because we're not that serious of a podcast. Because we have a lot of fun here. Isn't that right, everybody? Welcome back to the Dump and Chase podcast. I'm not Dump. He's not Chase. And we are back for a trade deadline special episode, albeit a few weeks late. Here we are.
We can treat this as a let's see how it's going episode.
Precisely.
Like we don't have to guess on some of these on how it's going. We can actually see.
We can tell you how it's going. Yeah. So we're providing some sort of couple weeks after insight here. So some value you might not get anywhere else other than here. So welcome back. In this episode, we are previewing the trade deadline. That's it. That's all we're not previewing. What am I? This is the preview of the episode. What we're talking about in this episode is just the trade deadline. We will have another episode coming out shortly with our regular scheduled programming.
Yeah. And we are talking about every single trade deadline trade.
That's right.
Or
if you wanted to hear,
trade.
If you wanted to hear about the most obscure trade that no one else covered, we're covering it. Even if it's only for a few seconds and we say we've never heard of them, we're going to cover it.
So if your team traded Joe Blow and you're sad because you don't get to hear the analysis on it because all you got back was future considerations, you came to the right place because we're going to talk about Joe Blow and the future considerations.
And if your team traded away future considerations, we're going to cover that too. Okay. Let's well, what else is there to do but get underway?
Yeah.
Hit us. So I know you reminded me of this before the episode started. How's this going? I'm reading the trade to you, or what are we thinking here?
Yes. So on our notes that we have shared,
yes,
I have just the teams involved in the trade.
Yes.
I have them ranked in low caliber trade, mid caliber trades, and then high caliber trades. Obviously, we're going to probably spend more time on each trade as we go. Mm-hmm. And then on a separate document, I have all the details. And so I need you to read me the two teams involved, and then I will give you the details, and we will react.
Perfect.
Get your reactions first, most likely, because I've already thought about most of these.
Yes, so you probably have.
Yeah.
Oh, also I should note, scenery change here. This is a new
scenery change number 3.
Scenery change number 3. Hopefully in the future we have a permanent home for the Dump and Chase podcast. But until you start paying us, we probably won't. So just like give us money or something. I don't know. We love doing this, but sometimes it's kind of unorthodox, shall we say. So here we are. Anyway, first trade. And what I'm just highlighting here, this is where I start. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I saw this trade, and this might be my favorite trade of the entire trade deadline.
And it wasn't even in the NHL.
And it wasn't even in the NHL. I saw this. I was riding passenger on the way to a video shoot, and I just burst out laughing. You think, why would you burst out laughing over a trade? Well, the Utica Comets GM.
That's the AHL.
In the AHL, yes. What's who are the AHL team for?
I think the Canucks or the Devils.
The Devils? The Utica Comets?
I will check.
I don't know my AHL affiliates that well. Anyway, the GM had his son was playing on the team, on his team. Now, as a good dad, he traded away his son. And you think, okay, well, that's understandable. It's a business decision. Yeah. He traded away his son for future considerations.
So I'm getting rid of you just because I don't want you anymore. I don't want you on my team.
Traded away for future considerations. Now, as I got to thinking about this, as long as they're well humored about it and like no terribly hard feelings, this will be like such a killer discussion over like, Thanksgivings for years to come.
Yeah.
The dad says something like, says make some comment, and the son will be like, yeah, well, you're also the dad who traded me away for future considerations. Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very humorous. It is the Devils.
It is the Devils. Look at the
Devils
Utica Comets.
Yeah.
Do we even know the guy's name? No. All we know is that he was traded for future considerations.
I did know at one point. I forget.
Yeah, we don't have it written down. And he wasn't that noteworthy because, he got traded for future considerations.
Yeah. What even are future considerations anyway?
I'm convinced that it's a round at the bar. Next time the GMs are hanging out, it's like, I'll buy a round, shots,
if I
beers,
could ask
whatever.
An NHL general manager any question, it would be that. What are future considerations? Like, did teams just have a stock of them? And it's like once a team owes you 5 future considerations, it equals a second round pick. And that's why we see these lopsided trades. And you're like, that wasn't fair. And it's like, oh, actually, this team owed them 6 future considerations.
I would be interested to know that. However, I can't remember where I heard this, but I heard it somewhere that future considerations could mean just as little as next time the GMs are like in the area, they go out for drinks and the other one of them who has the future considerations pays.
Yeah.
So, it's
imagine being traded for a drink.
Oh, man. I'm worth more than a $12 Corona, I promise. Okay, moving on. So that's kind of fun. The next trade we have, the first NHL trade here we have is between the Panthers and the Sharks.
Florida Panthers receive Vitek Vanacek. San Jose
I've heard of him.
Yeah, San Jose receives Patrick Giles. I have not heard of him.
Neither have I.
I don't know what position he plays. Vanacek is solid, as we'll see later.
Yeah.
The Panthers traded Spencer Knight, so
they
did. Backup goalie.
Is Vanacek, do you know what his contract is? If he's like overpaid, maybe that would make sense why he got traded for someone we don't know.
Possibly. I know Vanacek has also fallen off a little bit since those 1 or 2 years.
Fallen off, really maybe a bit of an overpay. We don't have to spend too much time on that.
Yeah.
But that could be what it is, and if not, then the Sharks won that trade.
Yeah.
The Sharks at it again. Sharks and the Penguins. What's that trade?
Sharks and Pens. The Pens receive a 5th-round pick. The Sharks received Vinny Desharnais.
Ooh, Oilers legend.
Yeah.
For a 5th rounder. I have no idea how that man's doing. I haven't heard of him really since he was on the Oilers. So
I think this is a fair trade. I miss Desharnais on the Oilers. It's a bit of a confusing trade to me because the Pens and Sharks are both in a rebuilding stage.
Yeah.
I don't know why the Sharks need Desharnais and would want to give up a 5th-round pick for him.
I think they did it for kicks and giggles.
Yeah, that's probably it. So that's the only thing for me with this one is why did you do it? Seems like a waste.
Yeah.
For both teams. But good for the Pens. I'd say the Pens win because they got a pick.
Yeah, they got a pick that could,
Who knows?
As long as it's not like a 7th rounder, then it might turn into something.
Yeah,
I mean, even 7th rounders do, but maybe a 5th rounder might turn into something.
Yeah.
Okay, Jets, Panthers. Panthers, 2 out of 3 trades so far. They're in it.
This one confuses me a little bit, and I'd like to know which one was first.
Yep.
The Jets receive Chris Drieger, and the Panthers receive Kaapo Kähkönen. So it's a goalie trade.
Yeah.
So the Panthers just got another goalie. So the Panthers traded for Kähkönen and for Vanacek.
And then got rid of Spencer Knight.
Got rid of Spencer Knight, still have Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit confused as to why they went for 2 NHL backup goalies.
Make their AHL team studly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's because they're worried somebody's hurt. Maybe Bobrovsky's fighting something that we don't know about.
Maybe they're worried someone's going to go down.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you need to stock up, you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
If someone's there, not much, the price isn't that high, you get them.
Yeah.
So I like that trade all right for the Panthers. Not bad.
It's interesting because the Jets and Panthers are both playoff teams. Like
they're very much
they're cup contending.
They are cup contending teams.
And it's not very often you see an NHL player for NHL player swap between cup contending teams at the deadline.
That is true.
I mean, they're both backup goalies, so it's not much, but it seems a little bit like, again,
bit of an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah. And it's not like one's more valuable, so you got a 5th rounder in there or something.
No.
It just seems like
1 for 1.
Yeah, maybe it's scenery changes. Maybe they're both struggling.
Yeah, that could be. In organizations, maybe one of them silently requested a trade and we don't know it. Whatever. The next one we have is the Panthers and the Sharks. Man, the Panthers are really just getting in on this.
Yeah, there's a few teams that the Bruins made a lot of trades in this deadline as well.
I noticed that.
As did the Sharks.
Okay.
And the Sens made a few big ones, as did the Avs, hence our jerseys.
Yep.
Anyways, Panthers, Sharks. The Panthers receive Nico Sturm and a 7th-round pick, and the Sharks receive a 4th-round pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this trade for both teams. Nico Sturm was a good young prospect. He's still young, but he's not going to turn out as like a big name most likely.
Yeah.
And so a 4th-rounder, Panthers get a depth player for the playoffs. Sharks get a 4th.
Not bad.
It's good for the Sharks. Good for the Panthers too.
So far, we haven't seen any win-lose trades so far. So far, it's kind of just like, hoo-ha.
Yeah.
But that is the case with most low-caliber trades.
Yeah.
Okay, Columbus and the Sharks.
Columbus receives Luke Kunin.
Okay.
The Sharks receive a 4th. Again,
all right.
I love this trade. Kunin, solid 3rd, 4th liner.
And the
He's
Sharks
actually been doing really good
team.
for the Sharks this year.
Yeah.
I actually think they could have gotten more than a 4th for Kunin.
They could have
played this year. Columbus trying to make the playoffs. They've really struggled the last 2 weeks, and they've fallen out of that race a little bit, unfortunately. Yep. But they're still there.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad. And then a little pick for the rebuilding Sharks.
Yeah.
Devils and Kraken.
Devils receive Daniel Sprong. Kraken receive a 7th.
Okay.
I think this is really good for the Devils. Actually, I think Sprong's worth more than
a 7th. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And again, depth player for the most injured team in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
Or the most significantly injured.
That's for sure.
They could use as much depth as they can get. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's move on to the Leafs and the Wild.
This is one of those like, cool, good for you guys. The Leafs receive Reese Johnson.
Okay.
The Wild receive future considerations. Congratulations, Reese.
Our first NHL future considerations traded at the deadline that we have.
It might
covered.
actually be the only one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Bruins and the Devils.
I'm sorry.
Slightly sworn enemy teams. Why are they trading?
Yeah. I'm apologizing in advance for this name.
Okay.
The Bruins receive Daniil Misiul. Misyul.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you how to pronounce it. That's the best I could do.
Makes two of
the
us.
Devils receive McLaughlin. I forgot to put the first name, so that's all you get.
Okay.
Devils got McLaughlin. Bruins receive Daniil Misiul.
Okay.
Sure, they know what they're doing.
I'm sure they do too.
Yeah.
Devils and Penguins.
The Devils receive Glass and Gruden, not Grudem. Gruden.
Yes. So are we saying Cody Glass?
I think so. Yep.
Probably.
Yeah. If I didn't put a first name, probably.
Probably Cody Glass.
Pens receive Stillman, Graham. I don't know who that is, so that throws my first name out the window. I don't know who Graham is. And a third round pick.
Okay.
So a third, Graham and Stillman for the Pens, Glass and Gruden for the Devils. I've never heard of any of those names.
Neither have I,
And
except
so
for
a
Cody
third
Glass.
rounder being thrown in there seems odd to me.
Yeah, a third rounder. Interesting.
Yeah. So if that's Cody Glass, then maybe that
makes sense.
maybe this Gruden kid is good. I don't know. But the Pens
wait.
gave up 2 players, Devils gave up 2 players, and the Pens pulled a third out of it. So I think the Pens win that one based on what I know of the
So
players.
that was Cody Glass.
I think it is.
He's on the Devils right now.
Perfect. Yeah. So
25 years
apparently
old?
Glass is worth a third. Didn't know that.
Vegas Golden Knights legend. Was he not their very first pick?
Possibly, yes.
I think he was the very first player on their franchise.
Yeah, we're going to actually get to the Golden Knights later.
I believe we will.
Yeah.
Okay. Devils and Islanders.
The Devils received Chalowski.
Who?
Chalowski.
Cool.
Chalowski.
He's got a great name. I'd put that on a jersey.
Yep. And the Islanders received Beckham. Good for them.
Solid.
Also don't know either of those guys.
Preds and Canes.
This one is my favorite one of these low caliber ones.
Okay. Better than the Utica Comets?
Yeah.
The Sun trade?
Yes. Because specifically for us, because you have a history with this player.
Oh, who is
The
it?
Predators receive a 5th round pick, and the Carolina Hurricanes receive Mark Jankowski.
Mark Jankowski. What a Flames legend.
What did you used to call Mark Jankowski? Do you remember?
The burger flipper.
The Burger Flipper. Because when he left the Flames, what did you think he was going to be?
No, when he was on the Flames, I thought he was going to be a burger flipper. Bro was a 12th overall pick and was doing hardly anything. Yeah. I'm going to look up his stats here.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. With the Canes.
Will you? Okay.
With the Canes.
Yeah.
He has scored 4 goals in his first 4 games with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, wow.
Since
all right.
this trade.
Sorry,
he is
21th overall, not 12th.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. A little dyslexia moment there.
Yeah. So on the Canes, he has scored 4 goals in his first 4 games. Now, I don't know if he scored more since. I just know he scored 4 in his first 4. Now, those were
He's scored 6 and 8.
Wow.
6 goals, 8 games.
Yeah. So apparently he's showing up now.
Flipping more than just burgers, I'd say.
But he not only scored the first 4 games, those are his first 4 shots.
Whew.
He is the first player on record in NHL history since they kept track of shots, which started in 1997, to score on his first 4 shots with a new team.
Wow.
There's
an ESPN stat for you.
Yep. First 4 shots with a new team. He's first player ever to do that.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his stats here. He bounced around to the AHL quite a bit.
Yeah. He's been all over the place.
On the Predators, he is never in 2 seasons. He hasn't scored more than 14 goals. So
and he's
I can
already
see why
scored
they were
half of that in 8 games.
Yeah, I can see why they were pretty done with the Mark Jankowski experiment.
Yeah.
And his NHL career, 122 points in 403 games.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
But hey,
Getting
maybe
fifth
we're
form isn't
experiencing
bad.
prime Mark Jankowski right now.
Yeah.
So good old burgers.
Yep.
Burger flipper. So that rounds out our low caliber trades category. We are now moving on to the mid caliber trades.
At this point, I believe you will know most, if not all.
I
of them
should
by name.
probably know most of
There's
them.
1 or 2 that you might not.
Okay. So we're going to start with the Penguins and Predators.
The Predators
Why
received.
did I say it like that?
The Predators. Mm-hmm. The Predators received Michael Bunting and a 4th round pick.
Okay.
And the
I know who Bunting
Penguins
is.
received Luke Shen and Thomas Novak.
Okay.
So I really like this trade from the Predators' perspective.
Yeah.
Bunting in a fourth is good.
Yeah.
The Predators should be good next year. I'm talking this year up to a weird year.
Yeah.
Next year they'll do it.
Yeah, the Predators are terrible this year.
Yeah.
And Ryan O'Reilly recently just said that he wants to be mad about it, but he can't because he's not good enough to be mad right now.
Yeah.
So I think we'll chalk it up to a really weird year, and we'll see what the Predators bring next year.
Yeah. And Michael Bunting could be good. They got a fourth rounder.
Sure.
For the Pens, I like it. Luke Shen, veteran guy. Okay, whatever. I believe he gets traded away from them later in this list. Yes, he does.
Okay, good.
But Tommy Novak, young centerman,
Yeah.
probably a middle six player, second, third liner. That's probably what he'll be.
I'm not mad for either team on that trade. Moving on to the Avs and Flyers.
Flyers received Giovanni Smith, and the Avs receive Eric Johnson.
Okay.
Giovanni Smith
Wasn't Eric Johnson on the Avs?
Yes.
For a long time?
And then he left and came back. So he won the cup with the Avs
Yeah, he
in
did.
22. And so he's back going for the new run. The Avs made some killer trades at this deadline. They went from a team where I wasn't sure if they'd make the playoffs to now all of a sudden one of the top cup contenders at this deadline.
I'm interested to hear more about your take once we get to the high caliber trades and more of these mid ones.
Yeah.
So let's keep trucking on to get there. Jets and Penguins make a trade.
Yes. The Jets receive Luke Chen.
Okay.
And the Penguins received a second and a fourth.
Ooh. I'm not sure if I like that much of a pay for Luke Chen.
I don't know if I do either. It's pretty similar to what the Penguins gave up to receive him. They gave up Bunting and a fourth. They got a second and a fourth. So that equates Bunting with a second round pick, maybe a third, because they also got Novak in that trade. That was
also
Bunting
true.
and a fourth for Novak and Shen. I agree a second is maybe a bit high. I like it for the Penguins. They didn't need Shen.
Yeah, I don't like... Wait, sorry, what? What'd you say?
I said I like it for the Penguins.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Shen for picks.
Because Shen has never... I'm just looking at his stats here, and of course they're not going to tell a story because Shen's never been really that much of a point producer. And that's not his game. So that's good to boost up the Jets. I mean, they're just locking in as much as they can for their trying to make a deep playoff run. So I guess they paid what they had to, and they got another guy.
And you know what? They're a top team now.
They are.
They don't need a lot.
No.
You don't look at their
There
forwards.
wasn't a whole
They've
lot,
got Mark Scheifele, Ehlers, Connor, Velarde.
Mark Scheifele is having a career year at however old he is.
Kyle Connor, and Gabe Velarde's having his breakout year. Morrissey is having a crazy year. Neil Pionk is having a career year. Hellebuck, I think, is having a career year, and his career has been career years.
Seriously.
Yeah. And so they have the pieces. They just needed to shore up, add extra depth in case somebody gets hurt. They added a body. And Shen is he hits. He's a good playoff performer. I like it. Second might be high, but you pay for players who are playoff performers.
You do. I just looked at Hellebuck's stats. Yeah, this is literally a career year. He's never had a year better than this one.
Yeah.
He currently has a 9.24 average, only matched by a 9.24 back in 2017.
Yeah.
And he has a 2.06 goals against average, which he has never got even close to that. The closest he got was a 2.34.
Dang.
Wow. He truly is having a career year.
And he has competition for the Vezina.
And he does.
That's
somehow.
the crazy part. We're going to get to that in our next episode.
We will.
Not this episode, our next episode.
That's right. Come back for that.
We're going to actually film right after this.
We are. So come back for that.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Vegas and New York. Rangers.
Okay, Las Vegas. Vegas receives Riley Smith. So they get him back. They just got rid of him.
Yeah, they did.
Him back. And the Rangers received Brisson and a third. Now, you might be like, who the heck is Brisson?
Yeah.
I didn't either. He was one of their first round picks, I think in like 2021 or something like that. He was their first rounder. So he's a good player. Mm-hmm. But with this trade, and this is crazy, Vegas has traded every single first rounder that they have ever had.
I heard that.
Except for the 2024 first round pick, which is Trevor Conley, who we haven't seen in the NHL yet.
Pack your bags, Connolly. You're next.
Yeah, I saw a lot of memes where it's like Trevor Conley after this trade and just the sweating
guy. Yeah, Connolly knows that he's gone. It's kind of like in football how the Los Angeles Rams just trade away. Well, I mean they just trade away all their picks, but Vegas likes to draft them and tell them to not unpack because they'll be moving along soon anyway.
Yeah. Well, and Brisebois, the GM of the Lightning, was quoted saying something along the lines of this during the deadline was like, "I don't need picks if I can make a contending team."
Yeah,
And so I can keep my team contending. I don't need draft picks.
That's a
so
slightly...
if I can trade 2 to 6 picks every year and I almost never have first rounders, but I'm always competing, that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's eventually that will catch up to you.
Yeah, it will.
But if you're smart and you're wise with it, you can last 20 plus years doing that.
You can. Yeah. Just trade your pieces at the right time.
Trade your pieces at the right time as they age.
Yep.
And use your picks to trade for younger players, not older players.
Yeah.
So we'll get to it, but the Lightning traded for Bjorkstrand and Gord.
Yeah.
NHL players, solid. Yep. They could keep them if
just keep getting slightly younger, and you'll be fine.
And then unload old guys when you need to, and then sign young guys as they show up in free agency. Maybe.
That's right. That's an interesting strategy.
You can do it without drafting.
We could probably talk about, we could make an entire episode about talking about that strategy probably.
Yeah, we probably could.
Okay, but we won't, not this episode anyway. Moving on to the Capitals and Penguins. The Capitals trade away Alexander Ovechkin and the Penguins trade away Sidney Crosby. Just kidding.
Imagine. Alex Ovechkin breaks NHL goal record
on the Penguins
against the Capitals.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, what was the actual trade?
The Caps receive Anthony Beauvillier and the Penguins received a second round pick.
Okay.
I like it. Penn's got a second. I actually feel like they probably could have got a first for Beauvillier, but maybe he's having a hard year.
So.
And the Caps get a good middle six player for their cup run.
That's good.
Because they're crazy good this year for some reason.
Because they can make a cup run for whatever reason.
They missed the playoff. No, they were the last team into the playoffs last year. And they're going to win the Presidents this year, most likely.
The Capitals right now are running off of Ovi's record and good vibes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And Logan Thompson.
Yeah.
So I like that trade for them, trying to get deeper, and the Penguins are kind of in that rebuild limbo weird situation where they still have Sidney Crosby and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to leave. So I like that trade for both teams. So moving on to the Kings and Flyers, what does that trade have for us?
So the Kings receive Andrei Kuzmenko.
Yep.
Which at 50% retained.
Yep.
And I believe he retained coming to Flyers. Did the Flames retain some of his salary as well?
If we did, it was only slightly, like maybe 15.
Okay. So 50 or more has been retained on Kuzmenko, and the Flyers receive a third. This kind of squashes my theory about him wanting to leave Calgary to play in Philly to play with Michkov. Yeah. Because he's gone already.
He's gone.
So apparently he's just trade bait.
The Kuzmenko show is coming to a close, I believe.
Yeah.
And he will be off in Russia not too long, I'm sure.
Yeah. The Flyers receiving a third form is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And they can afford to retain his salary.
The Kings, I just looked up his stats. He's like 4 points in 10 games, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
And he was 5 points in 7 games on the Flyers. Okay.
Yeah. So he's a player.
Okay.
He does stuff. But
he has moments of brilliance, and then he's trash.
Yeah. So he's not as stellar as he was supposed to be.
As that one season that he had in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Okay. And moving on to the Jets and the Kraken.
Yes, the Jets. I really, really like this trade. The Jets received Brandon Tanev.
Yes, they did.
The face guy.
The face guy.
The face guy. They should have renamed Facebook to Face Guy.
Face Guy. And it's just Brandon Tanev. Yeah. Bro's nowhere. He should just get Zuckerberg to cut him a deal because he has a good face. Because he can't afford it.
And then Seattle got a second round pick for him. That might be a slight overpayment for Brandon Tanev.
Could be.
He's a bottom sixer.
Yep.
But he is an impactful bottom sixer.
He is. Like literally. Physically.
Yeah. He creates impact.
He does create impact. That's for sure.
And speaking of.
Yes.
In his first, so he went back to Seattle. It was either it was days later. It was within a week or two.
Yeah.
He played against Seattle after getting traded, and he crunched Shane Wright.
Yes, he did.
Flattened Shane Wright
Just
into next week. Gone.
No, still buddy feelings. He's like, no, I'm gonna smoke you.
Yeah.
Keep your head up, Mr. Shane Wright.
Yeah. Well, I saw a thing that was also when you leave the team and you can finally take out all your frustration on the one guy you didn't like.
You're the one guy you don't like. You're like, I'm just going to run you into the middle of next week, bud.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Shane Wright, he's actually having finally a good season.
He is. He's coming up as a good player.
He is. Yeah. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Devils and Ducks.
The Devils receive Brian Dumoulin.
Okay.
A name who I actually thought was out of the league. I thought he retired or injured or something.
Hadn't heard from him in a while.
Okay. The Ducks receive a second and Herman Traff.
Herman Traff.
It's quite a name.
Herman.
Yep.
Traff. Might be a great guy.
Yep.
Has a funny name.
Yep. by the second rounder. I didn't think Dumoulin was worth a second rounder.
I don't think so either.
But the Devils, again, got a defenseman they need with injuries.
Sure.
So good for them.
Good for them.
Hope Herman enjoys his time as a Duck.
Probably won't, considering he was just on the Devils. Okay, Blackhawks and Red Wings.
Red Wings receive Peter Mrazek, so he goes back to where he was drafted.
Yes, he does.
And Craig Smith. I don't think this is old Craig Smith.
I doubt it.
So this is, I think, a new Craig Smith. You should look that up for me. I can't remember, 'cause I think Craig Smith that we know has retired.
I would think so. I'm going to look this up here.
Like, iconic empty net miss, Craig Smith.
Yeah. Guarantee it's not him. At least I think so.
Look up Craig Smith, Red Wings.
Yeah, okay. Craig Smith,
otherwise
Red
another guy
Wings.
will show up.
He's 35 years old.
Huh, maybe it is our Craig Smith. Okay.
Like the guy who played for the Predators for a long time. This is him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Well,
all right.
Him and Mrazek just got traded to the Red Wings. Definitely thought Smith was out of the league like years ago.
Nope, 35 years old.
Yeah, he's not
Still
even as old
kicking.
as I thought he was.
He hasn't scored more than 20 points since 2021.
Yeah, okay. So he has been invisible.
Yes.
For
the most part.
Blackhawks received Joe Vlano.
Okay.
So young guy who hasn't turned out exactly how they wanted him to, but is still an impact player.
And the
Blackhawks need young guys.
The Red Wings now get goalie.
Yeah, one more goalie.
One more
They now
goalie.
have Billy Husso, Cam Talbot, Alex Lyon, and Peter Mrazek.
Yeah.
And they didn't get rid of any of them. So they're just running 4 goalies, trying to figure out which one's going to work.
Are they pulling a Panthers? I mean, obviously they know Bobrovsky's their number one, but
Yeah, the
just
difference
stacking
is
up on
the
goalies.
Panthers have 1 starter and then 2 backups.
Yeah.
They just have 4 fringe starters. All of those guys have been starting goalies at some point in their career.
They have.
And have had stellar moments.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And all of them have also had really, really bad moments.
Yeah. Here we are.
So, yeah. I don't understand
There's a
strategy.
4-way competition for the crease.
Yeah, I don't know
Detroit.
why don't you trade at least 1 or 2 of them? Trade one of them to get a pick or something.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But no.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I like this for the Blackhawks. I think the Blackhawks should have tried to pull a pick out of there. Maybe they did. I don't think Veleno's turned out the way he should.
You know, I would question why they have 4 goalies, but, you know, Stevie Y is doing Stevie Y things. And I know he builds good teams, so I'm not questioning it.
Fair enough.
Not that I should blindly trust everything one guy does, but, I mean, he's had a good track record.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
I don't know.
Now, just on that note really quick. Brisbois with the Lightning, when Yzerman left and they hired Brisbois, he like won I think he won GM of the year after, and I was upset because I was that was Yzerman. I was like, all you did was do nothing.
He's like the guy who did nothing on a group project and got an A.
Yeah.
You walked into success.
Now, he did have to do the right thing in choosing to not do anything.
Sure.
Which is good, but I didn't know if it was GM of the year caliber. I will say, he has turned out to still be a pretty dang good GM.
He sure has.
Because the Lightning were on the brink of not being a playoff team this year.
They were.
And they are, I believe, ahead of the Leafs now.
Very much a playoff team now.
And they're doing well.
No doubt about that.
And like I said, we'll get to it, but they had 1 or 2 trades that were really good at this deadline.
You betcha. We are so close to through the mid-caliber trades, but I have to go to a break here as our camera is about to cut in approximately 20 seconds. So we're going to go to a break, come back, finish out these mid-caliber trades, and then we're going to move straight to the high-caliber trades. So we will be back in just a moment. We are back approximately 10 seconds later, so hope you enjoyed your break.
Yeah.
We are back to keep talking.
Well, it was only about 1.5 seconds for them.
That's true. Yeah. We had a much longer break than you guys did.
Yeah.
So.
Almost 10 times longer.
Wow. Consider that. Unless you paused it.
Yeah.
And we don't know how long your break was. Okay, so we're moving on to the next trade, are we?
Yes.
The Leafs and the Penguins.
Hey, the Leafs received 5th-round pick. The Penguins received Connor Dewar and Connor Timmins, a double Connor.
Okay.
I think they're both Connors.
So are they going for the whole, if your name's Connor in the NHL, you're probably good?
Apparently, because Connor McMichael's been doing that this year, and he was nobody until this year.
Yeah.
It
was just the beginning of the year,
at
though.
The Capitals. Oh,
he's fallen off. I had him in fantasy.
He's still good. He's just not scoring every
It's not
game.
fantasy worthy anymore anyway. So if you're Connor McDavid, Kyle Connor, Connor Hellebuck, who are the other Connors? There are more.
Connor McMichael.
Connor Zary. I know he's been injured, but he's been back and he's been good.
And he was suspended.
He was suspended too. But it just seems like if your name's Connor, there's a chance you're probably decent at hockey.
Okay, can I point out something? I just looked up Connors in the NHL.
Yeah.
And it didn't even give me a list. First thing it says Kyle Connor. It didn't even go to Connor McDavid. The next thing is Kyle Connor stats and news. The next thing is Kyle Connor Wikipedia. The fourth thing is videos of Connor McDavid.
We win. We know who the better Connor is, even though it's his last name.
Then we have 4 Connor McDavid videos, and then we have Connor Bedard. That was the other
Bedard,
Connor.
duh.
Yeah.
So yeah, if your name's Connor, you're probably all right at hockey.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay. Do we have any more thoughts on that trade, or are we moving on?
Nope. I really like it for the Pens.
Yeah, that's a good trade for the Pens.
That was okay, even though they're not a playoff team, to give up that 5th.
Sure.
I don't know why the Leafs did that. Get rid of 2 depth players for a pick when you're competing for the playoffs. That's a head scratcher to me.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting.
But I think value-wise, I think it's fine. It just timing-wise, it seems the Pens
Slightly
are almost
curious.
It seems like the Pens are competing and the Leafs are rebuilding when it's the opposite.
When you look at that trade, yeah.
Yeah.
And when we look at the previous trades that the Penguins have done, it's very much a they're getting picks trade because they're rebuilding.
Yeah.
Like that earlier trade, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bruins Sabres. What's that trade?
The Bruins trade a 4th-round pick.
Okay.
So the Sabres receive a 4th.
Yep.
And the Bruins received Henry Jokiharju.
Who?
Henry Jokiharju. He played for Dallas for a long time. I think he's like 27, something like that.
Is he Japanese?
Defenseman. No, I think he's Finnish.
Oh. I'm like Yoki Haru. I figured he was Japanese.
It's a J.
Oh.
All the Y sounds are all J's.
Ah.
It looks
Joki Hariju?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's a bottom pairing defenseman.
All right. Sure.
It's again also confusing to me. The Bruins trading away a pick to receive a depth defenseman who isn't going to be a long-term player.
The Bruins are in that weird no man's land purgatory of are we trash, are we good?
Except they're not anymore. They've fallen off because they got rid of so many players at the deadline, and they are out of the playoff race. They will not make the playoffs.
No, they won't.
Last time they got a top 10 pick, by the way, was the Dougie Hamilton and Tyler Seguin drafts. So it's been a while since.
It's okay. Well, we'll see if they tank far enough to get a top 10 pick.
They're in one right now.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I hadn't checked up on them in the last couple days. Okay, I knew they were close. Sabres and Rangers. Sorry if you can hear that. There's background noise. Again, having moved locations, we have noise to contend with, but that's okay.
Yep. So there's kids in the other room.
Yep.
Sabres receive Eric Brandstrom.
Okay.
Rangers receive Alway Kubel.
I like this for both teams.
Yep.
1-for-1.
Yep. And Brandstrom's a bit younger. Sabres get a young player. Rangers get someone who's competing. Could also be a change of scenery situation. I feel
sorry
like
that you have to go to the
similar.
Sabres, buddy.
Yep. It's not the place to be right now.
No, it really isn't. Just ask Dylan Cousins.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. So the next trade we're looking at is, did I say the Sabres Rangers? That's one we just did. Okay.
Yep.
So we are officially moving on to the high caliber trades.
The fun ones.
The fun ones where we'll spend more time talking about them. So high caliber trades. The first one we have here is a 3-way Oilers, Bruins, Devils. Lay that one out for us.
Let's go Oilers first.
Okay.
Because that's where they belong. Listen first.
Ha ha ha.
The Oilers receive Trent Frederick at 50% retained.
Okay.
Max Jones and Peter Hauser signing rights.
Okay.
I think he's either in Europe somewhere or in college. I don't know who Peter Hauser is. I don't actually even know which team he came from. But Max Jones and Trent Frederick. Max Jones and Trent Frederick both came from the Bruins. Like you said, Frederick 50% retained. Devils receive Shane Lachance from Edmonton. He is signing rights, and they retain 25% on Frederick. Bruins receive Max Wanner, a 2nd and a 4th.
Cool. Interesting. 3-way trades always confuse me so much.
Okay, fair enough.
I just get confused by them. I'm like, wait, so who's getting what and why are they in the trade?
Yeah. So the Devils, I love this for the Devils.
Yep.
I don't mind it for Edmonton. I love it for the Devils. I don't love this for the Bruins.
No.
The Bruins received the Devils. I'll start with the Devils. All they did, they retained 25% on Trent Frederick.
Okay.
And they may have given up one of these random picks or something too. I don't know. But they got Shane Lachance from Edmonton. That's
just for retaining 25%.
Yeah. Now, when I saw the trade, I was like, we didn't even give up anything. I was like, woohoo. I think the 2nd is our 2nd as well, the one that went to the Bruins. But
okay.
I was like, we didn't give anything up. I was like, this is sweet. But I looked, and he is apparently like a top player in college hockey in the States right now.
Okay.
And not like the best, but he is like he's
higher
really
up.
And I think he's like the team captain as only a sophomore.
Oh, interesting.
Or something like that.
Okay.
There were a couple things I saw that were like, oh, that's impressive. But he had told Edmonton behind closed doors he was not going to sign with them. So it was an Adam Fox situation.
There it is.
But the difference is this time it was behind closed doors.
This time
Fox
it wasn't
did that
Adam Fox
publicly.
publicly crying about it.
Yeah. And so we got a chance to trade
I'll
a player
boo that
who
man
wasn't
every
gonna
time he
sign.
touches the puck in Calgary.
Someone we weren't going to sign. Who he just wasn't going to. We traded for 2 depth pieces we needed.
Yeah.
And
hey, you get
guy.
2 depth pieces for a guy who's never going to sign with you?
And Trent Frederick is a beast.
Okay.
He fights. He hits. He's a bruiser. He's hurt right now. He hasn't played yet for us. But going into the playoffs, that's what we need. We are a weak team.
Yeah.
Like physically, we're
You
weak.
are. Yeah.
And all of our trades.
Ever since Milan Lucic left.
Yeah. Every trade we made.
Notice how I didn't say
deadline.
Zach Cassian, by the way? Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
It's a physical player. Every player we got this deadline.
Yeah.
Trent Frederick, Max Jones is a bottom pairing AHL guy, physical bottom liner. We'll get to the other ones, also physical players.
Yeah.
Oilers did really well in that area.
All right. Well, I like that for them, everyone but the Bruins then.
Yeah, they got a second. Good for them.
I mean, if the Devils can get a player from retaining 25% salary.
Yeah. And
sure.
they might have given up, like the Peter Hauser guy might have been from them.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe the 4th rounder or something like that. But either way, those are both like... Psh.
Yeah. Okay. Lightning, Red Wings, Kraken. Yay, another 3-way trade. Can't wait to...
I think these are the only 2, though.
Oh, good.
Okay, the Lightning, they got Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Yep.
Yanni Gord.
Yep.
Yanni Gord had 50% of his salary retained by Seattle.
Okay.
And
That's
25
huge.
retained also by Detroit.
So he's like playing for 25% salary for the Lightning.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's big.
That is big. And they got Bjorkstrand.
And they also got Kyle Aucoin signing rights. Again, don't know who that is.
Okay.
Detroit received a 4th rounder. I'm guessing all they did was retain the 25%.
For a 4th rounder.
Yeah.
25% of Gord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. And then who's the other trade team involved? I don't have the team name here. That would be the Kraken, right?
The Kraken, yeah.
The Kraken received Michael Isemont, young player who has potential, a second, and 2 top 10 protected first rounders.
2 top 10 protected first rounders.
So 2 first rounders, they can't be top 10.
Yeah, they're top 10 protected.
And they're both from the Lightning. The Lightning aren't going to have top 10 picks.
No, they aren't.
Anyways.
For Gord and Bjorkstrand, essentially.
Yes. Now, that also has Seattle retained 50% as well on Gord.
On Gord.
So Gord
is Bjorkstrand retained anywhere, or is it just all salary eaten by Tampa?
All salary for Bjorkstrand.
Okay.
2 firsts, a second, and Mikey Isemont.
Okay.
This is where that Brisbois quote came in.
Yeah.
Because 2 firsts seems like a lot.
It does.
Basically, that's saying both those players are worth more than a first because they also gave up Isemont and a second. And Isemont is like, he'll probably be like a 3rd liner.
Yeah.
And so he'll be an NHL player.
I'm not going to go as far as to say that either Gord or Bjorkstrand are first round worthy players. However, if that's their strategy and just keep shipping away the picks for solid young-ish guys who are going to put you over the edge and get it done, if it puts you over the edge and you get it done, trade whatever you want. Yeah. As long as it's going to get it done. If you win the cup, you win.
Yeah.
There's no, but you lost that trade.
Yeah.
So...
And you get 2 guys that can bounce anywhere in your top 9.
Yeah.
They can play first, second, third line.
Bjorkstrand is I specifically like Bjorkstrand quite a lot.
Yeah.
He's very much a multi-dimensional player.
Yeah. They both are.
Yeah, that's true.
They both play defense. They both can play physically, and they both skate okay.
Yeah, and Gord is going back to familiar scenery back in Tampa, where he won 2 cups. So we'll see how. I'm sure he's stoked to be back.
Yeah. Now I like this for Seattle too. This is great for Seattle.
They get 2 first round picks.
They aren't in a playoff spot. They committed to the rebuild or the sell rather than
the retool.
They're technically in the hunt for a playoff spot. But it's like barely.
They're like, at this point, you should just book your tickets for Cancun and figure out what you're going to do for next year.
Yeah. And so I'm glad they just committed
Not
to that.
end up in Flames purgatory where you just miss the playoffs every year and you get crap picks. I digress.
And don't make a single trade at the trade deadline.
Yeah, that too.
I don't know what I think about that, but
I'm all right with it.
yeah.
I think so.
It just shows that you're committing to mediocrity because you didn't get rid of anybody for picks, and you also didn't.
We can't get rid of anybody except for like the only people we could get rid of are, okay, now we're going full rebuild. We have to fully commit to the rebuild to get rid of anyone pretty much for picks. Yeah. It'd be like Rasmus Anderson or Michael Backlund.
Yeah.
And for Rasmus Anderson, you're getting at least a first.
Yeah. Well, you get more than a first for Anderson.
That's what I'm saying, at least.
Yeah. Anderson is better than Bjorkstrand and Gord 100 times.
Yes, he is.
You could get at least those two first for Anderson.
For just Rasmus Anderson. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Are we happy to move on from that trade? Yep. I think so. Avs and Islanders. Ooh, a two-way trade. I like those.
Ooh. Avalanche receive Brock Nelson and Dufour. I don't know who Dufour is.
Okay.
The Isles received Callum Ritchie.
Yeah.
Oliver Kylington.
A
first and a third-round pick.
Well, Shillington's a non-factor in that because he sucks now.
Yeah. Well, he subsequently was traded to the Ducks for future considerations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's dumped for nothing.
I moved that one down here because it was connected to the
He was dumped for a Corona.
Yeah. So the Isles received Callum Ritchie, a first, a third, and future considerations.
Okay. For Brock Nelson, who else, sorry?
And Dufour. I think it's William Dufour.
Okay.
I don't know who he
sure.
is. For Brock Nelson.
For Brock Nelson. Kind of a bit more of a veteran presence in the locker room.
Realistically, it's Kylington, maybe a third for Dufour.
I love how we just say Kylington now.
Yep. And then Callum Ritchie and a first for Nelson.
Yeah.
Callum Ritchie is the odd one here. First, that's great. Callum Ritchie is the Avs' top prospect.
Yeah. To me, this is an overpay for Brock Nelson.
Now, how old do you think Brock Nelson is, first of all?
Looking at his picture, 65.
I was going to go 83.
He looks old, man.
I don't know if he's in his 30s.
He is. I just looked it up. He's 33.
Oh, okay.
So he's a little older, but he has like a lot of gray, and the man looks like he's seen a lot.
So he's still got good hockey in him.
Sure.
It looks like he's retiring in the next 2 years. He's probably not.
No. I mean, this
and
last
he's a
year...
solid second round.
Sorry,
second
so
line
far
center.
this year on the Islanders, 43 points in 61 games, 20 goals, 23 assists.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
So he's what the Avalanche might need.
Yeah, and he's done well for the Avs.
Yeah.
But I saw a thing just today that said Callum Ritchie might become the next Patrice Bergeron.
Well, that's not a good look for the Avs then.
Just such a smart NHL hockey player. And it's like, and so what this might have been Frank Saravalli. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But what was compared to is that this might be this decade's Philip Forsberg for Martin Erat.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's like Erat was a serviceable NHL player.
Sure.
So was Brock Nelson. It was meant for a cup
But
run.
it was Philip Forsberg you sent away.
But you gave up a borderline franchise player.
Yeah.
And so before you knew he was going to be, but...
Yeah, I mean, on the surface for this season, of course, just for this season, you got to like that trade for the Avs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
and if they win the cup, it pays off.
That's true.
If they win the cup, it
that's
pays
right.
off. Just like the Lightning.
Just like the Lightning, if you win the cup, it pays off.
Yeah, but if you don't,
then it comes and haunts you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what I liked about the Lightning one is those top 10 protections, where if it bombs and they have to rebuild for some reason, they have that top 10 protection. There is nothing like that for the Avs. And so,
well, the Avs aren't going to be that bad.
No, the Avs are going to be scary for the playoffs.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. Somehow I got lost on my page here. Oilers Sharks.
Oh, okay. Oilers get Jake Wallman.
Yes, they do.
The Sharks get a first, which is top 12 protected, and Carl Berglund.
Okay.
He's one of those guys. He's a prospect. May not turn it into anything. If he does, it probably won't be anything big. So,
yeah.
One of those guys you can sign in free agency whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Sharks get a first rounder. It's top 12 perspective.
Obviously, the big piece here is Jake Wellman, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, what are your thoughts on this trade? I want to hear yours before I say mine.
Detroit lost this trade.
Yeah, they did, actually. Truly.
This Oilers-Sharks trade, the Red Wings lost. Because the Red Wings just gave up a first last year at the trade deadline to get rid of Wallman.
Yes, they did.
For future considerations, I believe.
Yeah. Not a good look.
1 year later, Wallman gets traded for a first. It reminds me of Sean Monahan.
I was hoping you were going to bring up Monahan. You know, it broke my heart when we traded Monahan away. and a first for future considerations.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be a bad trade. It was going to age like milk. I knew that, but we needed to do a cap dump to sign Kadri.
Yeah.
I still don't like it though.
You know what? At this point, if I'm the Flames, I take a 1-for-1 Kadri for Monahan.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kadri's good, but he's getting older.
Yeah, he is. That's true.
Is too, but
Monahan is too. It absolutely reminds me of the Sean Monahan situation. Yeah. And then the Habs traded away Monahan for what? What did
they got at least a first back.
They got at least a first when they sent him down to Columbus.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, or did he just sign?
Sorry?
Did he just sign in Columbus?
He didn't, but he came back from injury. He just came back from injury this week. I don't know if he signed.
I got to look this up quick.
I really like Sean.
The Jets acquired, the
Jets.
Oh, that's right, because Monahan went to the Jets after the Habs.
Yes, and he signed in Columbus this year to play with Johnny.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The Jets acquired Monahan from the Canadiens for a 2024 first and a conditional third.
Yeah.
So the Canadiens got 2 firsts and a third out of Sean Monahan.
And the Sharks got 2 firsts and Carl Berglund for
Jake Wallman.
Very similar.
Very similar trades. Yeah. So that's good. That's good for the Oilers. That's what they need to do. Yeah, of course, you trade away a first. Wallman. You don't love to trade away a first, but if you're getting a guy like Jake Wallman, and if he helps you, then it's worth it.
Is very comparable to the Mattias Ekholm trade to me.
It is. I think so too.
I think Jake.
Remember
Wallman,
last episode when I said the Oilers would need to do something like a Mattias Ekholm caliber trade?
They did.
Well, this might be it right here.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Super physical, has offensive upside, but is defensively smart. Mm-hmm. And how old is he? I think he's like 26.
He's not old. I have it right here. He is 20. Oh, he's 29.
Okay, so he's a bit older. Yeah.
That's fine. 29 is not old.
Took him a while to get into the league. I think that's like exactly how old Ekholm was when we traded for him.
Jake Wallman has played since 2019, 2020.
Okay.
Blues, Wings, Sharks, Oilers.
Yeah.
Poor guy had to go to Edmonton.
But he
did get out of San Jose, so
and he's done well for us so far. He was San Jose's top D man by a lot. He was really
absolutely.
Good. I have him in fantasy.
Yeah, you do.
When he was in San Jose, and he was doing well for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm happy with him in Edmonton. I'm very excited.
Let's move on to the Sens and Sabres, and I know what this trade is.
Ottawa receives Dylan Cousins, Dennis Gilbert, and a second. Mm-hmm. Buffalo receives Josh Norris and Bernard Docker.
Yep, that's a
trade.
That's a trade. I think that the winner of this trade is Dylan Cousins.
Yes, and the Senators.
And the Senators, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that Cousins is we've seen flashes of brilliance from him in Buffalo. He had one really good year.
Yeah.
But he's been stifled by this wonderful thing called the Buffalo Sabres. And now that he's out, I feel like he is about to take off.
Yeah. And it happens every time a good player gets traded out of Buffalo.
It's true. Every time. Every single time.
In the last 10 years.
Kyle Okposo did great after he left. Sam Reinhart.
Immediately. Sam Reinhart.
Duh.
Jack Eichel.
Ryan O'Reilly. There are more.
There are more. There was a list I saw once
was
of
it
like
Montour?
9. Yeah, Montour.
Montour.
There was like 9 or 10 of them.
It's insane.
Within 5. Hit my mic. Within 5 years, I think, of leaving Buffalo, they won a cup.
They win a cup. It's insane, actually.
It was a list of like 9 players.
Yeah.
And it was caliber players.
Oh, yeah.
Okposo being the worst of the list.
That's true. I don't know why he was the first one that came to my mind.
Well, he
anyway.
He used to be good.
Yeah, he did.
So,
he was never
Stanley Cup in the next 5 years.
What's sorry? Ottawa Stanley Cup
in the next 5 years.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Fun fact: if there's a team that's we'll get to this, but if there's a team that's going to make a surprise this year in the playoffs, it's the Senators.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, they were my pick last episode to make it into the playoffs in that Eastern wildcard race.
Yeah. I like Josh Norris. I think Josh Norris is very similar to Dylan Cousins. I don't know why this wasn't just a 1-for-1.
It could have been
with maybe just a third or a Bernard Docker. I don't know why Buffalo gave up Cousins and a second. If anything, I think Ottawa should have had to give up a second to get Cousins.
I would agree. I don't know why.
Ottawa fleet. I don't know who Gilbert is. Bernard Docker is an NHL player, so that's good, but he's not worth second.
Dennis Gilbert. Why do I recognize that name quite a lot? Oh, it's because he was a Flame. Yeah, that's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was pretty sure he was a Calgary Flame for a brief moment in time. Anyway.
Yeah. So Ottawa wins this 100 times over. Norris is a good player. Buffalo didn't get nobody back.
No, that's true.
This makes me think of Taylor Hall for Adam Larson.
I don't know if it's that bad.
It's not that bad, but it's that kind of idea where it's like the Oilers got a player they needed.
Sure.
They got an NHL player we needed.
But holy overpay back, man.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. How many future considerations did we owe the Devils?
Seriously. Yeah. How many drinks at the bar?
Yeah.
Yahoo Fantasy kept telling me, oh, this many people have dropped Dylan Cousins. You shouldn't keep him. You shouldn't keep him. And I'm like, nah, I'm holding on to Dylan Cousins. Yeah. And he got traded, and he's been just about a point per game since his trade.
Yeah.
So I'm all right with having held on to him.
Yep.
Anyway, Leafs Flyers.
Leafs receive Scott Lawton, 50% retained, a 4th and a 6th. The Flyers receive
wow, that was good.
The Flyers receive a first-round pick, which is top 10 protected, as well as Nikita Gribenkin, I think is a prospect.
So the Leafs win the trade.
Yeah, they needed Scott Lawton.
Sure. I don't know that actually anyone won or lost the trade.
Yeah, defensive, physical centerman who can win faceoffs and has offensive upside, veteran. Yeah. And a 4th and a 6th rounder for a first. Yeah, that's the sort of trade the Leafs need to make more.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I think it's a win-win for both, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, Bruins and Avs.
Bruins receive, this one is the worst trade in the deadline, in my opinion.
You think so?
The Bruins receive Casey Middlestat.
Yep.
Zellers and a 2nd. And the Avs receive Charlie Coyle and a 5th.
Yeah. I would say that Charlie Coyle is worth more than that.
Oh, no. I think it's an overpayment. Other way around.
Wait. Sorry, say the trade again.
Casey Middlestat and a 2nd rounder. There was also a Zellers guy. He's not as important. 2nd rounder and Casey Middlestat. Casey Middlestat has been a 2nd liner in Colorado.
Somehow I missed the 2nd round pick.
Okay. So, yeah, Middlestat is a 2nd liner in Colorado and young. I don't think he's 25 yet.
No.
Or he's around that if he is.
Middlestat. I should look that up.
Avs receive Coyle in the 5th. Coyle's around 30. That is very much a right now trade, but I don't think Coyle's better than Middlestat.
I'm going to look up how Middlestat is 26. Oh yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Like,
I forgot, I got the names confused. I don't know why I was thinking of a different player. Casey Middlestat, that's not a great trade.
No, because like they're different players, but if I'm like in a draft, just straight up fantasy draft or whatever, I'm taking Middlestat before I take Coyle.
Yeah.
If you just give me both players, I'm just taking Middlestat.
Coyle's 33 years old, and he, this year on Boston, 22 points in 64 games.
Yeah. And he's a penalty killer, physical player. He's not there just to score points. But Middlestat can play defense too.
Yeah.
And he's young, and you get a 2nd. Like the Bruins.
That does seem like a bad trade. Yeah.
So that makes no sense to me on the Avs part because I don't even think they upgraded.
No.
Unless they were just going for experience.
If they're going for experience, then sure.
And if you're going Coyle for Middlestat, okay, 1 for 1, that makes sense. You can justify, I just need this type of player. I'm willing to pay for him.
Yeah.
But like to give that and a 2nd makes no sense.
That's not that good.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Bruins, well done.
Yeah. Bruins. If you can hear that, we now have music in the background of our podcast. The kids are playing a piano.
Hopefully they don't play anything that'll get us copyrighted.
I doubt it. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on to...
Oh, I was going to say...
Oh, yeah.
Coyle will, assuming the Avs don't bomb, he will become the 4th player in the past decade to appear in 13 straight playoffs from the start of his career.
That's impressive.
That follows Paul Martin and Pavel Datsyuk, who both did 14, so one more. And then Henrik Zetterberg, who also did 13.
It's actually crazy that the Red Wings made the playoffs for that many years straight.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, but he would not have done that if he stayed with the Bruins.
That's true.
This trade puts him in there, which is a perk of being an expendable but key role player type player at the deadline.
Go jump to a contender.
Because if you're not on a contending team, you are prime deadline bait.
You
will get traded to one.
Yeah.
Because all of them want you.
That's right.
And but you're not good enough for this team to keep you.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Okay. So we're going to jump to the Bruins and Panthers.
This is
probably the second most interesting trade.
This is the next worst trade, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Value-wise.
You think this was a bad trade?
Yeah. Panthers received Marchand, 50% retained.
Yes.
So the Bruins had to retain, and they also received a conditional 2nd. You got rid of your last franchise player.
Yeah.
And retained half his salary, which I think is just for this year.
Yeah.
So not a big deal.
Whatever.
For a second. Now, it does become a first if Marchand plays in a quarter of the round 1 and 2 playoff games.
Okay.
However many that ends up being, if he's in 25% of them, it turns into a first, which will happen unless Marchand's hurt.
Yeah.
So I actually like that condition because if Marchand's hurt and does nothing, the Panthers don't have to pay for him as
That's
much.
right.
But, yeah, Marchand's worth more than a second
Marchand,
or a first.
I think that's disgrace territory for Marchand, for the Bruins to send him away for that little after being one of the cornerstone pieces of, not a dynasty, but of your solid team for years.
Yeah.
To send him away for a second rounder, conditional second rounder, and a 50% retained.
Yeah.
That's almost disrespectful.
Yeah.
I don't love that at all.
But for the Panthers, this now gives you a line of Marchand, Bennett, and Tkachuk.
Ah, lovely. May I note 2 former Calgary Flames?
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest rat line ever.
Bennett's not a rat, though.
No, but
He won't be afraid to punch you in the face, but he's going to do it when you have your gloves off, and so does he.
Yeah.
I don't think he does
anything. I
anything
don't want to
really...
play against them in the playoffs.
No, that's not it.
I don't know if they'll actually put that line together. Tkachuk's hurt, so we don't know at this point. But
I hope they do.
Yeah, I hope so too.
That would just be cinema right there.
Yeah. But with this trade, it'll be the first time the Bruins are without Bergeron, Marchand, or Chara.
Since when?
Since all three were in the league together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, was Chara the first one to join the team there?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah. I believe so. And
also the first to leave, but yeah.
Yeah, Pasta, Hampus Lindholm, Pavel Zacha, Charlie McAvoy, Jeremy Swayman are the only 5 players left from the record-breaking season.
That's actually crazy. That was not long ago at all. No. That's wild.
Yeah.
So can we crank through this next trade in under 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, Leafs and Bruins, go.
Leafs, Bruins. Leafs receive Carlo, 15% retained. Bruins receive Fraser Mitten, a first, which is top 5 protected, and a fourth. Big overpay for Carlo.
That's a big overpay for Brandon Carlo.
Also, yeah, but also a player the Leafs needed. They needed a defenseman. He's a good defenseman. He's a top 4 defenseman.
And he's young-ish.
Yeah.
He's 28.
Yeah, so good player to get, but way overpay. Seeing as for Rantanen, they were going to trade Minton, Cowan, and 2 firsts.
Yeah.
For Carlo, they traded Minton and a first and a fourth.
Yeah.
You're putting Carlo not a tad below Rantanen.
No. And I hope you can hear the dramatic music that is ensuing. It's like this dramatic piano playing to really fit the mood here.
Yeah.
So I hope you can hear that actually.
Let's get one more done really quick before this will be super fast.
Okay, go.
Sens receive Zetterlund, Tristan Robbins, and a fourth. And the Sharks received Ostapchuk, Gregor, and a second. I like it. Young players to the Sharks.
Yeah.
Young NHL players to the Sens.
Hey, that's
Team
what
with
they
a
want.
Playoff run, got what they needed. Stayed young. Sharks got prospects and a pick.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to take another break and come back for the last 2 trades and then some predictions.
The 2 biggest trades.
I would say so. Alrighty, taking a break. Be right back. All right, we're back from our second break. We enjoyed a little bit more piano music, and now we're going to jump to the last 2 trades of
the 2 biggest doozies
today. Yes.
Yeah.
Stars, Canes.
Who's involved in this trade, Noah?
Oh, I don't know. Some nobody named Mikko Rantanen.
Second trade this year. If I told you at the beginning of the season Mikko Rantanen would be traded twice, would
I'd have called you crazy.
Me? Yeah.
I'd have called you crazy.
There were a lot of teams in on him.
That's probably got to be one of the first times in a long time a big name player has been traded twice in a season.
I actually have a stat about that.
Oh, beautiful. ESPN stats.
Yeah. I don't have it written down, so I have to go based off memory.
That's okay.
I thought I had it. Anyways, I think Joe Thornton is the last big name trade to be traded once.
Yeah.
Guy who was at the top of the league in points to be traded.
Yeah.
It was Joe Thornton. The one stat I do have is he is the player with the most points by a guy who's played for 3 teams in one season.
Sorry, say that again.
He is the most points.
Yeah.
Out of anybody who has played for 3 teams in one season.
Okay.
The previous holder was Thomas Vanek.
Yeah.
Was the previous holder. I don't have the point total here.
Okay, that's fine.
But Thomas Vanek was the last player to play for 3 teams and have the most points.
That's crazy.
That's a pretty big skill jump between those 2 players. So
yeah.
That kind of shows that this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, twice.
That's kind of sensational.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. And there were a lot of teams in on him.
There were.
The Oilers were in it. I don't have details for other teams. The Leafs offered Cowan, Minton, and 2 firsts.
They did.
The Oilers were in on it and offering
McDavid. Just kidding.
It was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite enough. We actually had an extension locked in and everything with Rantanen
You did,
already.
yeah.
That was more than what he got with Dallas.
That's
but
right.
It wasn't quite enough that the
return wasn't
the
quite
Hurricanes
enough.
Weren't quite happy.
Yeah,
we were like second or third place. It's the reason the Oilers didn't get more done at the deadline is because we spent more
too
time
focused on Rantanen.
Yeah,
understandable.
Yeah,
I mean,
and if we pulled it off, it would have been huge.
It would have been sensational.
Yeah,
and it would have proved if Star Power can win the cup or not.
Yeah, it really would have. But he was never going to stay in Carolina.
No, he never
straight
was.
Up told Brind'Amour that.
Yeah,
Brind'Amour was like, he came in here, he's like, I'm not staying here. He told them, which I mean, good on him.
Hey,
Brind'Amour was not upset. He's like, fair enough.
All right.
I just wish we asked him that before we traded for him.
You think you're staying around, bud?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So, anyways, what was the trade? The Stars received Rantanen.
Yes.
50% retained.
Oh yeah, we should say that the Dallas Stars received Mikko Rantanen.
Yes.
How much retained?
50%
retained by the Canes.
Yes. There was not a third team, which actually surprised me. I expected there to be a third team.
Normally in a trade this big, there's a third team just for some salary.
Especially with it being 2 competing teams.
Yeah.
This is another case of 2 teams trading roster players back
Interesting.
and forth. And he signed an 8x12 extension.
He did. So it was a trade and sign.
Yeah, 96 million total. So his jersey number. I don't think that's accidental.
Probably not. Kind of like Crosby's weird contracts.
Yeah. Hey, if I'm the Penguins, I'm taking an 8.7 on Crosby all day.
Yeah, why not?
And then the Canes received Logan Stankoven and 2 firsts, which are top 10 protected, and 2 thirds.
Sorry, what were the picks again?
2 firsts.
Yep.
Top 10 protected.
Yep.
And 2 thirds.
Okay.
And Logan Stankoven.
I
like Stankoven.
So do I.
Right? He's a middle 6 right now.
Yep.
I think he'll be a top
The
liner.
potential to be a lot more.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be Rantanen's level ever.
No.
But I think he'll be a first liner.
But maybe one of those first round picks will be.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 firsts, Stankoven. I actually don't hate this.
No, neither do I.
Especially considering, well, I guess he's not just a rental for the Stars. He signed the deal. But
that's right.
Trade it's not the worst. You probably could have gotten more if you had handled it better. But given the way they handled the situation, this is a pretty good save.
Considering that everyone knew he wanted out of Carolina, that's a pretty good trade.
Yeah.
Once a player makes it known,
never should have been in that scenario.
No, they never should have been. Once a player makes it known that they want out, their value goes down.
Yeah.
Usually. Yeah. Unless it's like anyway.
Now, here, this kind of puts the whole situation into perspective.
Okay.
This is what the Canes got out of both trades.
I was going to ask you if you had that.
Yes, I do. So the Canes got Logan Stankoven.
Yep.
Taylor Hall, who, I mean, he's old now, but he's actually been really good in the last 2 weeks.
Go back 10 years, and that's stellar.
Yeah. 2 first rounders.
Yep.
2 thirds. Mm-hmm. That's what they got.
Yeah.
Stankoven, Hall, 2 firsts, 2 thirds.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's a good haul.
Now, they gave up Drury.
Yeah.
But NHL player, I would say Hall comparable.
Sure.
Just Drury's younger. A second, a fourth. That's what they gave up for picks. And then Nietzsche's. So Rantanen isn't part of that because he was in and out. This is their overall net gain and loss from start of the year to now.
Mm-hmm.
Second, fourth, Nietzsche's, Drury out. Stankoven, Hall, 2 firsts, 2 thirds in. Basically, you got 2 firsts, 2 thirds, Hall and Stankoven for Nietzsche's and Drury.
I like that.
That's okay.
I like that for the Canes.
I don't love losing Nietzsche's. Nietzsche's to Stankoven, Nietzsche's is better.
Of course.
So,
but you have 2 first rounders.
Really, it depends how do those firsts turn out. If those firsts are 2 players, Stankoven are better, you win.
You win, yeah.
If those firsts, if one of them is a dud and one is Stankoven, you maybe break even.
Yeah.
If they're both duds, you lose.
That's right.
If one of them is a superstar, you win.
That's right.
No matter what.
And that's always possible. Depends on where those picks are.
And those 2 thirds could be NHL players as well.
And who
knows?
Those
could be Jack Drury's.
They could be.
Yeah.
Those first round picks will tell the tale of this trade.
Yeah.
And I think that as of right now, if I'm the Hurricanes, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah. Honestly, Rantanen has struggled so far in Dallas.
He
struggled
has.
in the Canes too. He has 1 point in his last 5 games with Dallas.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly okay with that if I'm the Canes.
Yeah. The real winner of this trade is Jack Roslovic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had number 96 on the Canes.
Yes, he did.
And when Rantanen got there,
he traded his number for a Rolex.
A brand new Rolex.
And what else was it? Was it
just a Rolex?
Just a Rolex, yeah. But then, still, it's a Rolex watch.
Yeah.
To give away his number for a month.
It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Gives away his number for 2 or 3 weeks to get a Rolex watch.
And then his number back.
And he got his number back because Rantanen left.
Yep.
Let's be real. He's the real winner here.
Yeah.
Not either team.
Yeah.
I did see that. I love that. Yeah. Okay. Utah and the Blackhawks.
This is the biggest trade of the deadline.
The Utah Hockey Club. Did they finally get a name out of the trade?
Yeah, they did.
They traded for a name?
No, they traded the name. Sorry.
No, I'm joking, saying that as if they finally got a team name.
Yeah. They received a 5th rounder. Now you might be asking, why on earth is this the biggest trade? They got rid of Aku Rati.
Okay.
Victor Soderstrom. I think it's Victor. And Shea Weber. And you didn't expect to see Shea Weber at this year's trade deadline.
That's right. I did hear about this.
I thought his contract was over, but no, he's still floating around on LTIR.
Still on the books.
Utah Hockey Club legend, now Blackhawks legend.
Shea Weber. I did hear about that trade.
Yes. So that's biggest trade of the
biggest
deadline.
trade of the deadline. I saw
biggest
that
name gone. I'd say bigger name than Rantanen.
Yeah, Shea Weber. Yeah. When I saw this, I'm not going to say the biggest name at the deadline. There's Brad Marchand in there.
I would say Weber's bigger than Marchand.
Well,
Weber's Hall of Fame. Marchand isn't.
You don't think Marshy's Hall of Fame? No.
He didn't. He wasn't legit until in his mid-20s.
That's true. The debate could be had.
Yeah, I think he's Hall of very good, but I don't think he'll ever be a Hall of Famer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that wraps up all of our trades.
Let's
all the way from a GM trading his son for future considerations, all the way up to Mikko Rantanen. Sorry, all the way up to Shea Weber's LTIR contract.
Yes.
So, we have cup predictions here.
Yes, we made these in our last episode.
We did.
All right, do yours change?
No.
What were yours again?
The Dallas Stars.
Against?
Oh, I didn't pit them. I just
against?
a team.
Okay, Dallas Stars doesn't change.
Yep, Dallas Stars. I'm sticking with them, riding with them.
I think the Stars get eliminated in round 1 or 2.
Yeah, you do?
Rantanen hasn't fit, and they are primed to me to be the team that went all in at the deadline and just went.
That could be.
Stunk. I'm like they're set up to be that team, and it's like often the team that goes all in doesn't win. I'm sticking with the Jets too.
You're sticking with the Jets.
The Jets have everything they need. We're going to talk a lot about them in the next episode.
Yeah.
And they brought in Brandon Tanev, Luke Shen, 2 good pieces. Yep. They might have overpaid for them, 2 good pieces.
Sure.
I think they're legit.
Oh, I think the Jets are legit too. I really do like them as a team. But just because I made the prediction already, I kind of want to stick with the Stars here.
Yeah. But I don't think Connor Hellebuyck's going to be beatable. He's been bad in the playoffs in the past. Mm-hmm. But with the defense in front of him, I don't think he's going to be beatable. I think he's just going to carry them through. They're going to score lots of goals. I think they're going to breeze through the playoffs.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Leafs still have a shot. I had the Devils in the finals with them.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Jack Hughes is out for the season, including the playoffs. Dougie Hamilton is out for the season, possibly the playoffs.
The Jets were looking... Not the Jets, sorry. The Devils were looking really good.
So I don't have them in the finals anymore. I think I still have the Leafs in the finals now.
Oh, don't say that. Say it ain't so.
I like Carlo and Lawton ads for them.
Yeah, they did make good ads.
I don't love their Dewar and Timmins loss.
Yeah.
But I like their ads. I like Berube. Now, this is where, if it's not the Leafs, I'm going to throw this out there just as a bomb. Nope.
No?
Senators.
Oh.
Senators go all the way. They don't win, but they make it all the way to the
final. That's pretty bold. I would still have to go with the Lightning because of the ads they made and how good they've looked.
The Lightning would probably be the common sense one.
They're the common sense one, so that's why I'm going with them.
Yeah.
However, I would love to see the Senators in the final. If it came down to the Senators versus anyone in the West, obviously it's not going to be the Flames. I'm putting that out there right now.
Yeah.
I will cheer for the Senators. I will. I'm wearing their jersey. Yeah. I'll jump on the wagon. I will. Happily.
The Jets might... I mean, Winnipeg, Ottawa final? Canadian team.
Ooh.
I don't know who I cheer for because the Jets are a top 5 team in my books.
That's true.
But I would love the story.
They'd be such a good Though I might have to say Jets because Hellebuck's carrying my fantasy team at the moment. And Kyle Connor. And Mark Scheifele.
Yeah. Wow. All in on the Jets.
My one team has Scheifele and Connor.
Between the two teams.
Scheifele and Connor on the one team, and the other team also has Connor but has Hellebuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like the Senators. I would love it if they went on a run. I don't know if they will or not. But
Yeah. I love how neither of us said Panthers because we just don't believe in them right now.
No, I don't think.
Unless they can successfully pull off the Vegas LTIR Matthew Tkachuk situation.
Yeah.
Mark Stone.
Yeah. Well, that line actually, it will be the wild card. If that line is everything it could be, Bennett, Tkachuk, Marchand, they might go all the way.
You can send that line out and change a game.
Yeah.
Right away.
So, but I don't know. I don't think they have it this year.
No.
They lost too many pieces. The
Yeah.
Ekblad situation.
Yeah, that wasn't
It's
a good look
messy.
for them.
I just don't think they have it this year.
No.
It's also taxing on your body to be in the finals 2 years in a row.
It is.
The Lightning did 3. They lost the third one though.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm okay with my prediction. I don't know if it's going to come true. I wouldn't say, if I were a betting man,
once I see
Yeah.
brackets, I might change mine. But
if I were a betting man, I wouldn't put money on the Stars, but I'd like to see them win. We'll put it that way.
yeah, I'd be okay if they won. I
Yeah.
like the Stars. I just don't think they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes our trades. But it wouldn't be a good episode of the Dump and Chase podcast without some slander of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Woo!
So what do we got?
Okay.
Hit us with it this time.
I can't.
You having technical issues?
I'm having technical issues.
He's having technical issues. Do you want me to highlight this and get rid of your blackout for you?
There, got it.
Oh, good.
Buffalo. They have scored in the last 3 years. They have scored 513 goals, 5-on-5.
In the last how many years? Sorry,
3
Okay.
years. They have scored 513 5-on-5 goals.
Okay.
That is more than 13 teams. This is the Buffalo Sabres. Have scored more 5-on-5 than 13 teams. From the least to most is LA. LA has the least. Vancouver, Washington, Winnipeg, Carolina, Florida, Rangers, Tampa, Boston, Devils, Colorado, Vegas, and last but not least, Toronto with 512.
Whoa.
Toronto has less 5-on-5 goals than Buffalo.
And they have Austin Matthews.
And Mitch Marner.
Well, and Mitch Marner,
And
yeah.
Alex Nylander, who is a top 5 player in the league right now.
Yeah, Nylanders are going crazy this year.
Yeah.
Which I have him on my fantasy team.
I do too.
But that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
And how are they so bad?
I don't know. Every year I think they'll break their playoff drought, and they don't.
No, they don't.
The Sabres do. But
The Sabres
Leafs,
are going to saber.
Yeah, but the Leafs are worse. Yet I just put them in the finals with my prediction. But
Yeah.
anyways.
But, you know, a prediction is just a prediction.
Yeah.
The Leafs look good on paper. They don't usually look good on ice.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that pans out. 512. That's wow.
It is one less. So honestly, by now that stat could be wrong.
Yeah, it could be. It's actually kind of crazy that they've scored more 5-on-5 goals than Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a few teams. Colorado too.
Yeah, Colorado too.
Winnipeg, Carolina.
Now that begs
Florida.
the question: if Vegas and Colorado, like all these teams that have done really well, are they power play merchants?
Well, yeah, you know what? Yes, they're power play merchants, and I don't see Edmonton on that list. Therefore, we are not power play merchants.
No, it's because you guys aren't actually that good. Okay, so our fun fact to round out the episode. Hit us with it.
Trade related fun fact.
Oh, good.
Not deadline related, but trade related.
Yeah, it's on theme.
Jean-Michael Isles.
Okay,
You remember that name?
faintly.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
2014, he was traded.
Okay,
Good for him.
Good.
From the Leafs. Don't know where. He
Can
was
we make
traded.
fun of the Leafs in this?
Well, yeah, sure, because they were jerks for this move.
Okay.
He was traded during the Winter Classic warm-up.
Oh,
He was set to play in the Winter Classic, and they traded him when he was on the ice warming up.
so they pulled him off and he didn't play
Pulled
the game.
him off. He didn't get to play the game.
Wow, that's extraordinarily rude.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. He went into it knowing he probably wasn't going to play.
Oh,
They specifically waited till warm-ups so he could at least skate in warm-ups.
okay. So
Which does hurt the team a little bit because it meant they couldn't put a guy. I think that their roster was set for the game, so I think they actually lost a defenseman because of it. Or that lost a roster player.
So he knew he was skating around there.
So he skated around knowing he probably wasn't going to play,
Okay.
or at least not play the whole game.
All right.
But still, it's like, wow.
That's still a jerk
traded
move.
during the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
I'm curious if he ended up playing in an outdoor game after that. He's obviously retired now, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he played in one after that or not.
That'd be kind of heartbreaking if that was like your only chance to ever play in an outdoor game in your career and you get traded during warm-ups.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so
That's rough.
maybe sad fact, not fun fact.
Yeah, no, that's more of a sad fact for him.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
And on that joyous, happy note, we're gonna round out this episode. We're gonna call that an episode. I hope you enjoyed this trade deadline recap, sort of how it's going a couple weeks later, and our cut predictions, all that good stuff. So we thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, let us know. If you haven't, I guess let us know too. Please give us a follow over on our Instagram at Dump and Chase Pod. We're giving away the jersey that Ben is currently wearing. So if you're watching right now, you will know what team it is.
Technically not this exact jersey. It's an identical one.
Oh, it is. Okay.
This one's mine. But
okay.
I have another one sitting in.
So it's an identical jersey to the one he's wearing. For those of you viewing the episode, you can know what exactly jersey it is. But for those of you listening, got to head on over to our Instagram to find out what jersey it is. Or YouTube, that's true. Wait, no, we're only giving it away on our Instagram.
Yes, but you could see it on YouTube.
Oh, sure. No, but I'm saying go over to our Instagram to enter to win.
Yes.
So drop us a follow on our Instagram. I think it's when we hit 50 followers. 100.
We're at like 48 or something.
Okay.
Like
Once we hit 100 followers, we're giving that jersey away. So that's a pretty low bar. So we're going to be giving it away hopefully in the near future. So with that, we thank you for consuming the content that we produce. And we will see you next time. Anything else to say, Ben?
Goodbye.
Take care.